Hey Vicky, do you know what I like better than good news?
What's that, Matt?
Good news in schools.
Me too. Welcome to the February edition of Good News in Schools.
Now let's head to Long Branch Elementary School for an encouraging and fun story.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, I'd say these folks are having fun. This is the opening ceremony of a special day-long project at the school, building a new playground from the ground up all in one day. This was made possible by a number of partners, including Kaboom, a nonprofit that helps schools build playgrounds, CarMax, Community in Schools Jacksonville, and more. District 4 School Board member Paula Wright was among the supporters who came out to cheer on the 150 plus volunteers as they mulched, drilled, and put the pieces together. The school hasn't had a playground in 12 years, so you could imagine how exciting this was for the entire community. What's even more exciting is that the students played a large part in deciding what they wanted.
Students were able to come together and design what elements of play that they would like to see. They wanted to be able to move. They designed the type of slides and just had conversation of what they wanted it to feel like and look like.
In case you were wondering how it all turned out, here you go. Here are some photos of the finished playground.
Wow, I know everyone in the Long Branch community must be thrilled.
So, what's next, Vicky?
Well, Matt, President's Day is this month, so I figure we should probably hang out with George Washington.
As in the first president of the United States, George Washington?
Yeah. Well, sort of. I'm talking about this interactive performance at the Jacksonville Public Library downtown. Actor Dean Melissa did a spot-on portrayal of George Washington before a crowd of hundreds of Duval County students. He never broke character and gave them a first-person account of what it was like to be one of this country's founding fathers. And of course, to keep things interesting, he brought students on stage for a little show and tell.
When you are looking at history in a textbook only, you're looking at one, at best, two dimensions. But when a first-person historical interpreter or a historical actor brings it to life, it really fills out the character.
Melissa goes on to say that learning about our nation's beginnings is critical, and he always celebrates when he sees that students are beginning to understand our history. Nice.
Vicky, our next story involves a very special guest at Abbas Park Elementary. We're talking about First Lady Ann Scott, wife of Florida Governor Rick Scott. She spent the morning visiting students and bonding over books as she read to this kindergarten class and also read to this fifth grade class.
And next to Aslan stood two lepers, of whom one carried his crown and the other his standard.
Mrs. Scott took the time to share with students fun facts about herself, including how many pets she has, pictures of her grandchildren, and what it's like to be the First Lady of Florida. I have a feeling the students will not forget about this visit anytime soon. What a neat opportunity. Okay, last story, Vicky.
Matt, our last story takes us to Westside High School, where students had the privilege to meet living history. We mean Dr. Robert Haling. He was a key figure in the civil rights movement in St. Augustine and a pioneer who worked alongside Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Haling spent time speaking with students and encouraging them to keep fighting the good fight. Matt and I also had a chance to sit down with Dr. Haling. We hosted a special edition of Real Talk at the high school, where Dr. Haling served as a panelist alongside students, a teacher, District 5 board member Constance Hall, and former Senator Tony Hill.
Well, I have adopted a philosophy: if I only reached one student today, because we talked about blood, sweat, and tears, we find that social change takes place in increments.
And like he said about passing the torch, I'm ready to take that responsibility now. And if he wasn't here to speak to me, I probably would have never had that mindset.
It is possible for things to happen, and we are young, so we have the time, we have the energy to go out and put our energy into the community and actually make a difference.
I gotta tell you, Matt, it was obvious students were very much impacted by his visit. Talk about a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Well, before we head out, we want to make sure you are always connected with the district's good news. Watch this season of our award-winning show, Real School, the first Sunday of each month on the CW. You can also catch up by logging on to www.duvalschools.org.
And you definitely want to listen to our Real Talk podcast. Just visit the front page of the district's website and click on the Real Talk icon. Well, Matt, as usual, this has been fun.
No doubt about it. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of Good News in Schools. Until we see you next month, have a good day.